being a black man and a father is greatness. And you look at the men that come before you, and the men that you surround yourself with, it symbolizes greatness.
And then, to me, I can say, black father to me, being present, being on time, being in your kids' life no matter what your job schedule may be. For me, that I can speak of is working at the post office for many years. I wasn't able to watch my kids, so therefore, cell phones, FaceTime, I pull over, take lunch breaks, making sure I'm there just in case I'm asked the question why I wasn't there, but I'm literally there by saving the device. Being present, being there for parent-teacher conference, anything that's involved in my child, being a dad, that's what.
A black man to me stands for being punctual, standing for something, being confident with who you are as a person, an individual. I feel like standing for something, having morals, being disciplined, things like that makes up a great black man.
Being a black man to me means keeping first thing first, which is God, being honest about who you are and whose you are, taking every step to get better, because every step you're going to have to be better than the next week. And that's not to go over any other black men, like black fathers, or nothing like that, but every other race and every other situation, you're going to have to be great. You're going to have to be great. So being a black man to me means being godly first, and then understanding that you got to be great.
Being a black man means to me being strong, being positive, being active, and letting the world know that you are somebody and that you can be anybody that you would like to be. Well, you're never really quite ready to become a father, in my opinion, until it happens. But being a good man and a good black man, you always step up to the plate and make things happen to be a good father. So, you're never really prepared until you're in that situation, and then you just have to be strong and make it happen.
I agree. Well said.
Well said. I think I remember I remember the moment I was told, I was getting ready to have a child, and I remember not knowing if I had what it took to be a father. And then after holding my son, that was the first one born, after holding him in my arms, it felt like I knew I had this responsibility to do so much and teach this little person so much. So I think that you're never really ready, but you have to prepare yourself as the time comes.
I would say that none of my kids were playing. None of my kids were playing. So it prepares you. You're gonna automatically be prepared as soon as that baby is on the way. Stepping up is being a dad is gonna be when that baby is not in your arms, but when he's on the way, because there's so much you have to do beforehand to prepare, to try to prepare.
Yeah, when did I know that I was going to be ready to be a father? Because I've always told myself that those kids didn't ask to be here. So I watched my dad raise us, often asking too, man, how you did it, man, how you did it, Dad, how you did it. But I watched my dad, so I grew up in a two-parent household. So I watched my dad raise all of us, and I knew what fatherhood looked like. So I knew that I was going to follow his steps, because I never knew without. He just always took care of us. And I knew I had to do the same with both my kids.
You elaborate on that. First time you realized when I had my daughter the first time, I really didn't know what to think. It's like a natural instinct. I knew I was gonna be there. I knew I was gonna step up to the plate, but it's like, what can you possibly think when you didn't have that experience from your dad?
Facts.
You know, I didn't have the example to see what it like looks like or be like to be a father. So I just kind of dove into something, you know, and just followed my first mind. Like, okay, like when he said the kids ain't asked to be here, so you know, I'm step up to the plate and take care of business, you know, by any means necessary. And but before that, I never really just had an excuse to be a man in general, or a father per se. I didn't have my dad growing up, but I went out into the world and found great examples of what a dad or a man's supposed to look like, and I just followed that, you know, moving forward. A lot of people, especially my generation, we have a lot of excuses. A lot of hurt, a lot of trauma built up, but we don't try to go the extra mile to find, you know, the solution to the problem that we have. And one of them is not to have an excuse, just do it. If something's hurting you or you're suffering from something, just go out there and find it. It's out there, you know what I'm saying? Life is the biggest lesson that we can learn from. So I just think, you know, me not having that experience and the man I became, the man I am today, I mean, I'm proud of myself because I didn't have the example to know what it's supposed to look like from my own father, but I made it work.
Me being a dad firsthand, first of all, I had a stepson before I had my son. And just stepping in the role of dating someone that had a kid, and I knew what it was like, what it would be like. Nobody would teach me and tell me what to do. It was, like he said, a natural instinct of what I wanted to be as a father. And I gave 110%, and raising that kid helped me be the most amazing dad to his younger brother and to him as well. So jumping straight in and doing everything that I needed to do, not having an excuse of what my dad did in my past or a family tree of anything in your past, you determine what you want to be and how you want to be.
I can't say it was one, it's many. Kids evolve, they grow. I mean, it's just so many things that's continuously, even to this day, that's helping me evolve as a father and as a man. I mean, let's go back to your last question. You know, they didn't ask to be here. The things that they're going to need, that, you know, you was at one point, okay, it was all me, or the young lady I was with, or your wife. You know, this was all I had at one point. I didn't have to worry about a kid, but now I got 3 mouths to feed, and they looking at me. So I gotta step up. I gotta show the way that I can be. And that goes back to, you know, I didn't have no father in the house as well, but I had examples around that say, yeah, you gotta go to work. I had to go ask this, say, you gotta go to work.
You know, I say, I ask myself sometimes, the type of man you want to be. Like, who you want to be, you know, so just in the eyes of yourself, like, when you got kids that before you're trying to raise, it's a lot to think about. Their future, who they around, who they surround themselves around, who they gonna grow with. And it's just like, you really like, when you're not selfish and think about that seed that was planted, you think about all the possibilities of being great or what you can contribute to them to being great. So I mean, me knowing that I had a daughter from my first child just made me even more so want to step up in the sense of leading. You know what I'm saying? Setting the right example, instilling some type of knowledge into her. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, a lot of kids, like one of them kids that didn't have that growing up. So what else can you possibly do? But do the right thing. You know, it won't make no sense doing the wrong thing if you didn't have the example. If you didn't have the good example. So you know, I just think it's one of the natural instincts as a man. If you really care, you're not selfish, and you actually want to stand for something, you actually want to.
My pops, he was a musician, played music, wrote music, sang music, was literally in bands and went across the world. What I remember was him being loving and not really knowing how to parent. Hearing his story because, we've reconnected now. But hearing his story, he came from that background where there was no dad, there was no parent, and he wasn't taught. I didn't want to use that as an excuse in my generation, for generations to come. But my dad was an addict. He was on drugs, and he wasn't able to be present because he was sick. That's a sickness. He was on drugs, and it got to the point where sometimes he would say he was coming to pick me up, and wouldn't come. I'm waiting out on the stoop, backpack, and, the whole story, right? So it's just, for years I went without seeing him, without communicating. And then when he came back into the fold, I was older and able to understand what happened and why it happened, and able to forgive him. Real forgiveness, because I wanted my children to see what it meant to be a good father and a good man. You gotta learn how to forgive, let go. That's not gonna affect my future. My past is not gonna affect my future.
My background is a little bit different. My dad was a hustler, a drug dealer back then, and spent a lot of time away from home. So we missed out on a lot, from being siblings and things of that nature, and we went back and forth to prisons, visiting him. And it took a toll on, the siblings that stayed in the house, not having around, staying with different people in the family, missing out on just being a kid. But like you just said, forgiving and, trying to forget the past, but, working towards a friendship, a relationship, and building, trying to get past the trauma and all those things that happened over the years, and, pretty much seeing them from a different point of view from then until now.
Since I can remember, Daddy was not even, he wasn't just there. I mean, I'm pretty sure Mom and he was separated before I was even born, but a little piece of, remembrance I do think about is he was like in gang affiliates and stuff like that. Roam the streets a lot. As I got older, just, I guess, analyzing him and my mom's relationship. He cared. I think he cared. He tried in ways that he just couldn't get through, like because of my mom or whatever. But I mean, the cause that he was dealt, it was a choice that he decided to just continue to live the lifestyle that he wanted it. And I mean, he missed out on me growing up, and I kind of missed out on the experience of being at a little boy, with my father. Now that I'm older, it's like it turns to more of a partner type of relationship than anything, father-son. So it's like we had to talk. I talked to my mom and him, but when we speak about forgiveness, that heals a lot when you actually know the backstory about this, that, and third. Because every young boy, every young girl wants to experience the mom, dad in one household. It sounds good, it sounds complete, but I mean, that wasn't my story. That it stopped me though. But And I feel like I missed out a little bit. Yeah, I did. So yeah, that's just what it is. Yeah.
I started there. I just needed someone there. Someone to say, someone I can go in the room and say, hey, Bob say, and like this girl, what can I, what I need to tell her? Hey, I see you're my head cutting grass, I cut grass. I mean, the man next to me taught me how to cut grass, working on cars, how to change the tire, how to change brakes, things that I feel that you should be there to teach your kids. How should I treat her on the first date? What should I wear? How am I dressing? What kind of cologne? I don't know. I mean, these are things that when you grow up, especially when I was growing up, how do I treat this guy that's picking on me? You only can go off of, in my time, I don't have to go off of what TV.
For us, we would be growing up, I was young, athletic, playing all those sports, and there would be time to show up, to be there for your kid, get an homecoming king, get that Super Bowl trophy, that AU statue, monument of yourself of being on one of the highest teams, and just for me, it's time.
I'm gonna go with Satiric. I feel like I need to meet somebody there. Working through things, you know what I'm saying? Finding a better route to navigate through problems and situations. What crowd to run with, what crowd not to run with. I mean, these are the things I just kind of cultivated on my own. I learned on my own. Woman did the best she could though. You know, a woman can't raise a man though. So I just feel like if he was there, it would make a difference. And not just there just to beat up, because I got my stepdad that I didn't mention. But I didn't mention because he don't teach me shit either. Excuse my language. But somebody that's active, that actually care about being, and they see like their son, their daughter, like, you know, I wish I had that. I would play sports, middle school, 18, starting, varsity 2 years. I did a whole bunch of stuff. I made a lot of accomplishments. You know what I'm saying? I also made a lot of mistakes, but I ain't had nobody to refer to. It's just me and my mom. Yeah.
I also like to add characteristics to look at a woman, how to present yourself in the interview, how to, like you said, fix a car, or just being a man in America.
Back with you on one thing right quick. I disagree. A woman can raise a man, she just can't teach him how to be. So a woman can raise a man to survive in the world, but she can't teach him how to be.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's what I feel like I had. I had a great mama. She was able to raise me and give me everything that I needed, but not everything that I wanted. As a young boy coming up, and you see those kids with parents at the games, you see the extra things they're doing. I mean, I would go to, because I played ball too, and I would go to a kid's house who his dad was there all the time. He was like Booster Club dad. Like, you know what I'm saying? And to have that around was dope to see that, but it did kind of trickle at your heartstrings a little bit because you didn't have, you didn't have it. And like, when you make accolades, and all that kind of stuff, and it's hard to get on varsity when you're not a senior. Like we did that. So, and to do that and have those opportunities and then look up in the sands and not even mama there because she had to work.
Yeah.
You feel me? So, like, you know, that was, you know, I can agree with all of y'all on time, you know what I'm saying, and just not having that emotional intelligence, having to learn from other men around and just try to pick the best attributes that you saw. I forgive you. I forgive you. That's my sentence.
I want to send this in, I told him, I've often told him, he was my hero and that I loved him, I appreciate him and everything. I've often told him.
Mine would be, there's still time to change whatever it is, you know, we're not out of time, you know, we still got time.
If you ain't coming to change, I'm coming out.
Mine will be the past don't have to be your future. It's all love. Still that time to change.
That'll be, I appreciate it for being there all the time. He taught me a look. He can look at you and you're gonna straighten up because you know what may happen next. And I use that with my kids. I can give them a look and they be like, uh-oh, that ain't been played now. So he gave me that look.
Mine would be a drive to never quit or never give up, no matter what the circumstance may be.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing. Never give up.
And mine would be to know that you gotta keep going, like never give up, like you said. 'Cause, you know, it's not the end of the road. Just keep on pushing.
Mine would be, that told me punctuality, that was always early where we went, never late. So I do the same thing. Never be late, punctual.
Mine would be, don't be like me. Don't be like me. I can honestly say the things that he taught me was don't be like me. And you ain't gotta say nothing because you ain't there. So don't be like me. And I pride myself on when I did have kids, I never wanted to be like him. I wanted to be like the Carl Winslow or the Philip Banks.
Right on. Right on.
Or men that was in my family that I did see had kids and stayed at home. You know, those are the people who raised me, pretty much. You know, you had back then. That's when you had to either look at that or look at TV. So I always said that I would never be like the man my mama married or the father married. Yeah, it's funny, the magician. I call him the magician, or like the magician. So, and I pride myself on that, you know, to say that, hey, I broke that generational curse.
Facts.
Because I never left. Didn't want to leave.
So we're going to part 3, section 3. It's accountability and growth. What's one area you're still working on as a father?
All of them.
Man, I mean, I'm still working on, and I can honestly say communication. Communication, you know, and it goes back to a couple questions ago, you know, things that you could have talked to your father about when you didn't have that home father. I mean, how do you communicate with your child? I mean, I can only say the men in my family, I was the young pup, and they communicated on the side. I didn't really know what was going on. TV had to teach me how to communicate, and as I got older, I had to learn different ways of communication. Through when I was at church and trying to hear what they were saying, but I was young, so I'm still trying to work, trying to go to church, and still trying to be me. How do you communicate? Through time and effort, I've learned. So, and you know, my oldest is sitting over there right now. I know how to communicate a lot of things to him, so I'm growing as he's growing. Now that I'm older, yeah, of course, I can communicate right now, but it's still things that I still have to learn. It's still things that I'm still learning. But communication for me and our family was work. That was, I mean, that was what I was taught. Yeah.
I would say I'm still working on me. I think growth is timeless. Can't really put a time on it. Especially when you're trying to do the best. I mean, I feel like I already broke a generational curse when it comes to my yeah, me as a man, as a father, compared to my dad, I do a whole 180. Everything I do is different. I talk to my kids, I raise them, the adamant about being their life and steady, like making sure like my kids will know that we ain't together. You know, we ain't together, but she'll never know that she'll never have to think that I won't be there. I will always be there. You know what I'm saying? That's my position. Man, that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what I signed up for. So I just think every day is another chance, opportunity to continue to work on me.
I agree with continuously working on yourself. I think that I'm teaching I'm teaching myself self-control, understanding that everything don't need a fight. I don't have to be angry about every situation. You know, raising kids in this day and era, you're like, oh, okay, well, there has to be a balance. I don't want you to be punk, but I don't want you to be a punk. You know, all that other stuff is just like, bro, like I have to literally continue to tell myself, is it that serious? Do you have to yell? You know what I'm saying? And like as a man, you just have to keep on checking yourself. So yeah, I just feel like I'm always be a work in progress, but that's like the main thing I'm working on right now is learning self-control, saying, hey, put that down, you ain't got to do that. Oh, no. You know what I'm saying? Or tell them to come here and get on this level instead of yelling and embarrassing them and then having to regain that trust, you know, because your kids trust you know, out the womb.
To piggyback off what you were saying is true. And, you know, pretty much, you know, how all us grew up with, you know, the yelling, the belittling, you know, just, you know, trying to prove their point and not listening and hearing them out is what I've learned to do and not, you know, come with that bark back.
Yeah.
So, you know, just listening to my kids and getting their point of view because we feel one way and they feel some type of way that may make sense to us. And we feel like, oh, okay, well, I understand it from your point.
Or it may not.
Or it may not. So, giving them the option to voice their opinion would be in my household because, you know, growing up, you told to be quiet, you can't talk. The adult is talking, but, you know, they still have their minds going, hey, I need to ask you this, but you won't let me. So, my thing is pretty much listening, hearing them out for a chance and, you know, taking a break from it.
Well, I would say for me, I would be more loving, I guess. That's my work, where I work on me. When I was a kid, I grew up, and I'm probably the oldest guy in the room. My dad was 90, so he was older. So back in that era, they didn't love them. We didn't get loved on as kids. So we didn't get hugged on and kissed, and we didn't get that. So break the curse on that, I make sure I try and tell my girls every day that I love them, and you know, just kiss on them and love them, because I didn't get that as a kid. And I really believe that affected me in my relationship, because I didn't see it, I didn't know how to do it. So you don't really know how to love because you didn't get it, you know. But I try to break that with my kids and try to tell them still what.
My mom, she still, my mom never did that.
Yeah, so it's our era. We grew up. Her mom didn't do it to us, so it carried over to us. And your mom and me, we the same age, so it's just the way it is.
That's
they
crazy.
Didn't get it when they was
My mom didn't do that either.
We didn't get it. They
Yeah,
didn't get
I didn't get it until I actually had a wife, and then once they got grandkids, it was like, you know, and then, you know, oh, okay, I can hug you.
Right.
I can love on you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think it was part in like raising a single, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to teach this boy how to be a man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can't give him all of that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, it just.
Another thing with us in our household is eating at the dinner table together.
Yeah.
I wasn't
I like
raised to have my siblings and all, my dad, my mom, all at the table, because when he was out, my mom worked late, and when she got home, it was eating, time to go to bed. But every night, it's having my children, it's dinner table, how's your day, what's going on?
No phone at
No
the table.
phone at the table. You know, what's going on in school, how's your grades? You know, if anything's bothering you, this is the open floor to talk about it, and just embrace the love, and, you know, like you said, just bonding with them, you know.
I think it's very important now. I mean, going forward, guys, we just got to do a lot of that, because our kids, that means a lot. It helps them in their relationships and future relationships, you know, because I'm telling you, man, I watched my dad kiss my mom one time, 50-something years ago. One time, they was redoing their 50-year wedding vows, and we had to tell him to do it then, you know what I'm saying? Like, go kiss him. You know, I've never seen it, so we didn't get that, man. But my daddy came from a family of 17 too, so.
Wow.
He didn't get it.
Learn behavior.
Yeah, learn behavior.
Learn unlearn.
See.
I got it all. So, my mama loved on us. My daddy, he may not hug you, that's better than his boys, but of course he hugs his daughters. So, and you know, to be a man, he made me be a man, so he can do all that hugging stuff. But I got it from mom, so I'm blessed. So be there, show up, make sure kids know that you care about them and you're doing for them, and try to let them know if they being told something different, let them know that you care about them and show them.
Be consistent in their lives, and listen.
I can honestly say that we are present. We are here. We're doing the same thing that our predecessors were doing with our children. We're teaching our children to be great. We're influencing our children to do things that we couldn't do. So that's one thing I can say, that, you know, in this world that we live in now, that compared to 20, 30 years ago, we here. Every man that's sitting here right now has already told a testimony, you know, what they're doing as a black man in America, of what they're doing. We're here. We are the Carl Winslows of today's world. We are the Philip Banks. We are the James Evans. No matter how you see it, whether I stay in the slums or whether I stay in the penthouse, the George Jeffersons, we here. We see us.
I felt like they were trying to depict that on TV for us to understand that they were here. You know, in today's society, we don't get a lot of opportunity to show up and show out. Shouldn't have to have segments like, what is it to be a black dad in America? You know what I'm saying? What is it to be a dad in America? Because reality is we show up too. We just don't get the recognition. I'm not looking for it, but at the same time, it would be nice to see more of us out there saying, you know what? Oh, they are involved, right? You can't imagine how many parent meetings I go to where people look at me like, oh, you're here? Oh, he has a dad too? Yeah, you got a dad too. I'm present. I'm active. You know, it's different. So, you know, we just want them to let them know, hey, all this stuff you saw on TV, that's in real life too.
To piggyback off of being present for kids in school, kids activities, having that black dad there to be there to push them, be there to motivate, to be able to say, hey, my son has been on the APR road since kindergarten, to be there at 8th grade graduation, because some of us didn't have that. So being present is pretty big, being a black dad, because some of us don't have it.
It's just like the situation with Dia and Shakira right now. If you're looking at, he's just being a dad.
Yep.
He wants the best for his son. But they want to turn it around because he's ruining his son. You got the same Mannings that did the same thing. We back at square one.
Yep.
I would say to society, just give us a chance, you know, as men, to rewrite our story. We always been here. You know, it just showed up different in certain backgrounds, certain people. You got some women, you know, reject. And then they get probably one shit, not trying, or you got the opposite side where there are great men out here. And we take care of business, and like I said, like we don't get enough recognition. Not saying that we need it or asking for it, but just give us a fair chance. You know, it's a lot of unlearned, relearned things going on. And any black person that suffer from a stigma can't act like they don't go through certain things that separate them from their own kind. So just give us a chance to grow, to evolve, and to be who we're supposed to be. You know, God gave us many chances, He gave us many times, so I don't think no one should be trying to condemn anyone. You know, it'd be equal, it'd be fair, and just grow and build together.
The pressure is hard, because he might stay in a nice neighborhood, he might stay in a nice neighborhood, he might stay in a nice neighborhood, but you, as a black person, you're told you can't do that. Like, we're undeserving of it, but we put in the hours just as much as the white person do, or any other race, not just white, but we want better lives for our kids, so the pressure of being that black person in that space, to being told or being looked upon or looked down upon, or thinking because you're black, you're a drug dealer, you're this, or you have this type of stereotype. That's the pressure of being in the environment with those type of people. Like we're not supposed to have it. So that's a lot of pressure to even raising your kids, to see all white kids and you're that only black kid that's in that neighborhood. To feel that is a lot of pressure, not just for you, but also for the kids.
Token black kids. The pressure, like as a father, as a black father trying to raise your kid in this society is almost like trying to make a diamond. It either breaks you or makes you. At the end of the day, all we're trying to do is just push forward. And we don't want no problems, but as soon as we do something wrong, we automatically get called out, or we're the worst, or a situation happens and we're fired or let go, whatever the situation is. When you've seen so many other races do so many other things, you can't have a bad day. That's what the kind of pressure I feel like. Can't have a bad day. We always got to be on our P's and Q's. I can't drive over the speed limit in neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get stopped. That's in my mind. It's always pressure.
I mean, I think I agree. I think it's a lot of pressure. A lot of people overlook the willingness of men trying to be the best they can be. In any aspect, like a father trying to have a good job, I feel like we all trying to make it somewhere. Whether it's out the hood, whether it's to the top of the elite, anywhere, we trying to get somewhere. And I just think, people really try to stay afloat by not doing wrong, not reverting back to old ways, selling dope, selling weed, and robbing, killing, stealing, anything that can prime somebody from what they already work hard for. A lot of people really try to stay on this white line of trying to make it, but others will think that they don't have a fair chance because the opportunity has been been given. Not everybody utilizes the same way, so sometimes we tend to compare ourselves to other people, living left, living right, and see what we don't have, what we do have, and we just imagine ourselves being there. So we got people that actually try to go and get it. So it is a lot of pressure. One to be the best, one to be living comfortable. You know what I'm saying? One to have the be able to put the kids in school, pay for tuition, and so on and so on. It's a lot. So we tend to overwork, overdrive, no days off, and it's the same thing that repeats itself every day.
I say the biggest pressure is getting to wonder how America sees a black man. Getting to none of that stereotype. Because of how they see us, that's why it puts more pressure on better black men, greater black men. And we've seen it time after time throughout our history, our black history.
I'm gonna say no. You stand tall, fear none. You walk the king, so I'm gonna say nobody ever questions my masculinity or not. We walk like we know we that. You know what I'm saying? So we walk with intentions. We give respect when we walk by people.
I'm gonna revert back. Your masculinity is questioned every time you meet boy. By unjust cop. Every time you get profiled, I'm masculinity. So, I don't know how you repeat this question, but they've been breaking us for so long. We almost saying, okay, it's okay for me to just put my hands here, this is what I'm supposed to do. It's okay for me to make sure all my windows down, this is what I'm supposed to do. When my predecessor next to me says, oh wow, you ain't got to do all that. But I'm the one being called the boy. I'm the one that's being put on the ground. My masculinity is always in question every time I have to deal with it.
I think that'll be more of a problem situation. You got people with badges, it's a saying called sheep in wool clothing, something like that.
Yeah.
They not who they really portray themselves to be. They feel protected because of what they got on. I think it's more so them trying to rob you from who you're supposed to be because they probably fear you in a way.
Fear has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, when you know who you are as a man and around other people that don't even know who they is, they tend to fear. They fear that. They want what you already have, so they're gonna rob it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you get good at me, and somebody come around and be like, oh, you ain't all that. Let me me hold you. You know what I mean? They trying you because they feel like they can be better than who you are. Or, you know, when you a dude that say you just work out and you just look like you can't be, messing with you. Wouldn't nobody think to just approach you no kind of way, but a person with a badge that knows he's protected, they have a firearm, a taser, a pepper spray, and everything, they're gonna try certain things. But one thing I feel like we don't do as minorities, as people in general, we don't read is laws to that stuff that we entitled to, that we can trump or go against what people that take 6 months of a course, learning. They don't know everything, so you can't just take their judgment off of everything. So I feel like it's more of a broadening
And
situation.
that's why I say that, you're at that age where, this is how I see society. I'm not gonna go against that grain of that, where I can't make it back home with my family. I'm not gonna do that. Have you ever been face down on the ground? Have you ever been patted down? Have you ever been put in handcuffs yet?
Sure, we all.
Have you ever? I mean, that's what I'm saying. So that masculinity, they take that from you. They've been taking it from us for 400 years.
Yeah.
They've been breaking us, and they still trying to break us.
They ain't gonna stop.
So to say that I can know the law all I want to, but I'm not going to go back and forth with this man when this man has to make a decision whether it's going to be my life or my life.
Like somebody
It's
else
not going to be
did.
his life. It's going to be my life or my life. So either he gonna make up something while I'm in jail, or he gonna make up something while I'm laying dead in my own blood.
But somebody another race came and recorded.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And you're like, man, I know them same laws.
Crazy
Okay?
world we live in.
Nope. Yeah.
That's why as people we gotta reunite, come together and actually take a stance for things. But not everybody willing to do that. We can talk a good game and talk about how you're being treated and this, that, and third, but when people come together, a difference can be made. I just don't think we're in that time, that season.
We have to promote our kids to be better and get behind them and
Leaders,
put them in places of power.
Leadership, yeah.
Put our own people in places of power to help make that change.
Well, we always had tried to get together as a race of people, but they always find a way to bust us up. Period. I mean, when I grew up, we all lived in the same neighborhood, we were together, learned, good education, teachers cared about you. All of them things was positive. And then they busted us up, and that's when they divide. So once you divide us, now we're not that strong, and that's the problem we have.
And every man that is up here understands that, hey, if the enemy can get in my head and get in my mind, he's going to take me away. As much as I want to fight it, if I let him have it, he's going to take it. I got to fight. I got to fight. I got to fight. The reality of it is, I feel like everything is, you know what I'm saying, is surface level. We don't always have to fight our way out or fight about a situation or fight to win. You know, like your fight is within, and sometimes we take it outside because that's what we was taught. We was taught to take the fight outside. Don't be punked. You know what I'm saying? Don't let yourself get hit. You know, all those kind of thought processes. So that's what I'm trying to unlearn is, hey, fight is deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? It's spiritual. It's not really on the physical.
I would say, be more versatile when it comes to expressing what you feel about people. We was always taught not to be tough, not to cry, not to try that. But I think as you get older, I think it's very vital that you do express yourself. It's a stress relief. You know, you feel good at the end of the day. It also opens up doors for more conversations to deeper things that are going on inside of you. So, yeah, being versatile or vocal, I should say, expressing yourself, what bothers you, what might be on your mind.
It's okay to have a bad day. Being able to, it's okay to cry. You know, as boys growing up, so we're not able to cry. But we all have emotions. We all have things that we go through. And sometimes, crying might be that outlet to
that you need.
that you need to get away. So, that's one.
I want mine to say, just like a couple of these gentlemen said, is that I'm their hero. My dad wasn't perfect, but he loved us, and he worked hard. He kept God first.
I want my kids to remember, will say that my dad always loved me and he was always there for me.
I would want my kids to look at me, like you said, a hero. Always being on time for them, always being present, always being there in a time of need. Every step of the way, no matter what life brings in them, they know Dad is coming.
I would say that my kids would want them to say that I was a great provider and that I was loving and that I was always there for them whenever they need. Even now, as they are older, kids, I still try to be in their lives as if they were when they were little. So just wanted them to probably say that.
I want my children to see, he was there. He provided. He set the bar. He broke the curse. He was God-fearing. And he loved us. He gave all he could give.
I like my kids to say that I care, and I always try to make sure they knew me and they knew each other.
A black father is
a role model.
amazing.
Educated.
Loving.
Present.
Hard work.
My name is Terry Singleton. I'm a father of 4 kids in a blended family. You can say I jack up a lot of trades, but I do have one main job. And, I work at the Texas Department of Transportation.
My name is Frederick Starks. I have 5 daughters. I have a blended family. I'm an author. I'm writing a book called Blended Families for a black man, male point of view.
My name is Maurice Husband, 24 years old. I have 2 kids, a son and a little girl.
My name is Kendrick Murray, Houston, Texas, born and raised here. I have 2 boys, Marcus and KJ, truck driver.
My name is Byron Winfrey. I'm 59 years old. I have 2 daughters and been on my job for 40 years.
My name is Courtney Dacus. I got 2 kids, Logan, 7, and Leela, she's 4. She thinks she's older. And I've been, I've been a whole lot of things for a lot of years, but I didn't imagine how important it was for me to be a good dad because I didn't have one in the home. I didn't use it as an excuse. I used it as an opportunity to do more. I'm actually starting a father's ministry called F365, being a father 365 days a year, and I'm also a youth minister at the church, not too far from here, Trinity Gardens Church of Christ. That's my Black American dad story.